What happens when a global superpower's economic policy, one that's maybe meant to divide, actually ends up sparking this kind of unlikely unity among its rivals? That's the really compelling question we're diving into today.
Exactly. We're going to unpack a truly fascinating intersection here where global economics meets uh, diplomacy.
Right. And our focus, it's how these proposed tariff threats coming from the United States seem to be prompting a surprising convergence and strengthening among the BRICS nations.
And to help us understand this whole complex picture, we've gathered insights from various reports and analyses, things like excerpts from BRICS Unity against Trump's tariffs. Our mission really is to distill the most important nuggets for you, help you understand the motivations behind these tariff threats, the immediate responses we're seeing from key global players, and, crucially, the long-term strategic moves BRICS is making, moves that could genuinely reshape international trade.
So it's about finding that aha moment.
Precisely. It isn't just that BRICS nations are uniting, but maybe why this specific kind of pressure is proving to be such a potent catalyst and what's truly at stake, for the future of global finance.
Okay, so against that backdrop, these shifting alliances, let's zero in on the immediate trigger, what we're calling the tariff tremors. We're talking about the return of Donald Trump and his imposition of tariff threats on over 70 countries worldwide.
Yeah, it's broad.
And here's a really striking detail that comes up in the sources. Trump is apparently fully aware that these tariffs will also cause significant harm right back here to the U.S. economy.
He knows.
Yet he remains steadfast. It's quite something.
Well, and what's fascinating here, if you look closely, is the specific example of India. Because of its ongoing reliance on Russia for energy needs, which is a whole other topic, India's been penalized with an additional 25% tariff.
On top of existing ones.
Exactly, on top of existing duties. So that results in a whopping 50% tariff on goods exported from India to the U.S.
50%. Wow.
Yeah. And while the U.S. officially cites the Russian oil imports as the reason for this targeted action.
Right. That's the stated justification.
India maintains this isn't the sole issue. And frankly, they find the U.S. dictating terms like this unacceptable. So it's clear from the sources, this isn't just some negotiating tactic. It feels like a direct economic hit.
A powerful statement. Absolutely. A 50% tariff. But, okay, is this unity we're seeing just a defensive reaction, circling the wagons because of U.S. pressure? Or does it maybe signal something deeper, a more fundamental alignment of interests among these BRICS nations that was perhaps already kind of bubbling under the surface?
That's the key question, isn't it?
And how are the other BRICS nations reacting?
Well, indeed. BRICS, and we should remember, it's now a significantly expanded bloc.
Right, with the recent additions.
Yeah, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, the UAE. They've joined the core group. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This larger group is clearly mobilizing, coordinating a response. And it's not just India feeling the heat. Trump has also warned these other BRICS nations with an additional 10% tariff threat.
Another layer of pressure.
Which you could argue potentially pushes them even further into this united front.
Okay, so given these direct economic hits, these threats, the next logical question is, how are these nations actually mobilizing on the diplomatic front? Are we seeing concrete maneuvers happening, real talks?
Oh, absolutely. We're witnessing quite a flurry of high-level diplomatic activity. It seems designed specifically to reinforce these partnerships. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, for instance, he's been particularly active. He recently held what sources are calling a highly significant phone conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Okay.
Putin apparently briefed Modi on developments in Ukraine, and Modi reiterated India's consistent stance on peaceful dialogue and diplomacy.
Standard line there, but the timing.
The timing is critical, especially in light of that extra U.S. tariff on India. Both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening what they call their special and privileged strategic partnership.
That sounds like more than just friendly relations.
Oh, it is. It's specific diplomatic language. It signifies a really deeply intertwined relationship, going beyond typical bilateral ties. It covers areas like defense, energy, technology. It makes the relationship particularly resilient, you see, to external pressure.
Right.
And the sources also confirmed that Putin's visit to India has been reconfirmed. PM Modi had re-invited him for the 23rd India-Russia annual summit.
So strengthening those ties very visibly.
Exactly. And we're seeing similar moves, this strategic alignment, across the bloc. Brazilian President Lula da Silva also spoke with PM Modi over the phone. They're building on a comprehensive framework they'd established earlier in Brasilia.
Okay, what does that framework cover?
Well, it enhances cooperation in key areas. Think trade, technology, energy, defense, agriculture, health, even people-to-people ties. So this isn't just a friendly chat. It's about systematically reinforcing ties, kind of brick by brick, across these BRICS
A
nations.
deliberate strategy.
Seems like it. And India's outreach extends to China as well. PM Modi is expected to visit China, probably at the end of this month, to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO Summit in Tianjin.
SKO Summit, okay.
He's likely traveling to Japan around August 29th, then heading to Tianjin. And China has openly welcomed this. Their foreign ministry spokesperson, Guo Jiakun, stated China looks forward to hosting PM Modi.
Interesting. So a coordinated diplomatic response alongside the economic pressure?
It certainly looks that way. Strategically designed, perhaps, to build resilience among these nations.
This diplomatic flurry is clearly a direct response in many ways. But the really fascinating part, I think, is how BRICS isn't just reacting to tariffs anymore. They seem to be actively trying to shape a whole new financial future. It's not just about phone calls and summits, is it?
Precisely. That's the bigger strategic play here. You see, these BRICS countries already conduct a significant amount of trade in their own currencies. That's a move that's been steadily growing for a while now.
De-dollarization talk isn't new.
Not new, but gaining momentum. And crucially, they've actually proposed creating an international currency specifically for trade among member nations.
Okay, now that's a big step.
It is, and it's not just some theoretical idea floated out there. It feels like a strategic move to, well, insulate their economies from U.S. financial leverage. It could potentially allow them to conduct trade, finance projects without that constant exposure to dollar fluctuations, or, importantly, the threat of sanctions.
That sounds incredibly ambitious, though. I mean, how realistic is it? Given the complexities of international finance, the sheer power of the existing systems centered around the dollar, what are the biggest hurdles they'd face in actually rolling out a new international currency like that?
Oh, it is ambitious, no doubt. And the hurdles are significant. You've got issues like establishing trust, ensuring convertibility, overcoming all the entrenched financial infrastructure that's built around the dollar.
Huge challenges.
Huge. However, the motivation is clearly strong. If you connect this to the bigger picture, their broader goal seems clear. Reduce dependence on the U.S. dollar, which, has been the world's reserve currency for decades.
A bedrock, really.
Exactly. So this isn't just about trade convenience. It feels like a direct challenge to the U.S. dollar's central role. It's a quiet shift, perhaps, but potentially a fundamental one in the very architecture of global finance, one that could reshape geopolitical power far more profoundly than any single tariff. And our sources highlight this point, that this move could challenge America's global dominance. That's a concern, apparently, that weighs heavily on Trump.
Right. So, okay, let's try and summarize our deep dive today. The core insights seem pretty clear. External economic pressure, specifically these U.S. tariff threats, is paradoxically, maybe, driving internal unity and strategic collaboration within BRICS.
Seems to be the catalyst.
And this is leading to significant diplomatic engagements, those calls, the summit invites, but also these bolder moves to try and alter the global financial landscape, particularly through efforts to create an alternative to the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, and this raises, I think, an important question for you, the listener. How might these evolving alliances, these currency strategies, how might they reshape the future of international trade and power dynamics, going far beyond just the immediate impact of these tariffs we've been discussing?
It leaves you with a really big thought, doesn't it? As these nations seriously explore alternatives to the U.S. dollar, what are the potential long-term implications for global financial stability, for the balance of economic influence worldwide, and just how might this affect the way international commerce is conducted, in the decades to come? Something to really think about.